my heart goes, I know who that is. My whole body, from the tip of my head to all the way down to my toes, warms. There was no way to explain the feeling I had though when the plane's wheels kissed the ground, the soil of my country. Because when it had touched ground, I knew I was back in my country. And this was huge for me because this was telling of my answer that the Lord promised me, that the time, wait a little longer. A little longer is very different to the Lord than in our in our time frame. But I could not help but be just bawling, just tears, I can't even get off the plane. I'm just so overwhelmed that this is really happening. So we come in at evening time, so I don't see much at all. It's like really dark by now. So I'm like, okay, I will see my country in the morning. The next day I wake up and I can hear a like really loud sound. Like I had never had this animal or type of animal wake me up. I was used to cats and dogs. So I hear this rooster and I look out the window, I'm like, oh wait, I'm in Costa Rica. I gotta see, so I'm looking out and I see, just the lushness of everything and the green. Wade suggested that we start calling people and try to find my orphanage. So I had come with only the name of my birth mother and the name of the orphanage and the picture of the orphanage. That's all my parents had. So I'm coming for myself, like in a lot of faith, that we finally get a lady on the phone and we had the name of the lady from the orphanage that took care of me. And then the secretary has told us, Norma Espinosa is here. And we're like, oh, okay, well, and Wade says, well, I have someone here that she had in her orphanage long time ago, 18 years ago, and she would really like to find her and visit with her. And the secretary's like, oh, like make an appointment? And he's like, yeah, I guess. And she's like, oh, you need to wait 6 weeks. The secretary's like, oh, you can wait this long. We're like, no, we're here now. Like, we need an appointment now. And she's not happy. She's like, no. She's like, you can wait. We have 14 days. She says, well, I'm sorry. He translates for me. He's like, she's not happy. Yeah. But you know what? I think we should go. We're going to show up. I have the address. She already told me where they're at. And Norma's there, so I can confirm she's there. We're going to go. So we jumped in a car. That was our rental. And we started making our way. And as we made our way, we went probably at least a couple hours trying to find this place. Next thing you know, we're just in a neighborhood, and I'm like, this is like a ghost town. And Wade's like, oh, don't worry, we're gonna find this, we're gonna figure it out. And he's like, but if it does go too long, we do need to start heading back. We can't go forever today. And I said, yeah. And it was going hours now. I was frustrated. So I thought, well, you know what has always worked? And I thought, prayer has always worked. Yeah. So I stopped and within myself and took some time to pray in my heart and just ask Heavenly Father, can you help us? And so we kept driving, and it still took a few more neighborhoods, but when we got to another neighborhood, it was empty too. And there was no cars that I recognize or remember. And then in the distance, I saw something, and he's like, oh, Anna, did you see that? I'm like, yeah, I think there's someone there. So we were like, okay, let's see what's going on. And we get closer, and there's this gentleman, and I thought, how odd. There's no cars. He's the only one here, and he is literally standing on the side of the sidewalk, not by a house, not by a door, not sitting on a bench. He's standing on the curb by himself, like this. And so we go up to him, and we're like, roll down our window, like, so, any idea, about this address we're trying to find, this orphanage, and we've been looking for hours. We don't know where to find this. Like, is this really hard to find? The man has just as much energy as Wade, and he's like, yeah. But he's like, I have to jump in your car. If I jump in your car and I show you where it is, you must return me to the exact spot where you picked me up. We followed directions. He took us there. We got the location. We returned him back to his exact spot. And we're curious because we're like, how did that happen? And so Wade presses for some questions and he goes for some answers, and he asks the man, how do you know where this place is? And the man's like, oh. He's like, I am the only taxi driver in this area. So how long have you been a taxi? He's like, oh, for like 20 years. He's like, but I have only been to that location one time. Like, okay, we just found the only taxi driver in this area. And he says, usually there's only like one or two that are assigned to the area, and then only that person is driving those people to that location. He was the person. There's the miracle. In just this experience and in just this awe that we just dropped off this man, we found the orphanage, the center where where Norma Espinosa is going to be. We pull up and we walk inside. And the secretary doesn't know who we are yet, but Wade goes up to the desk and he's like, okay, so this is who we are. I had called a little bit earlier, and this is who she is. This is Ana Katia. And you can just see the facial expressions on this poor secretary. She just goes into anger mode. Like, she's like, didn't I just tell you guys? Like, so I go and I sit down on a couch. And when I sit on this couch, there's a big glass window behind it. So you can see all the way to the back of the building. The back of the building is open grass area. And in the middle of the grass area is this glass building. It's like a meeting house. The meeting house itself is glass. So you can see through the meeting house, you can see the table and the chairs, and you can see people sitting at the table. So I sit on the couch, and Wade's talking to the secretary, trying to calm her down, and just tell her, can we please get in? And can you just have a see Norma Espinosa? You have to understand, it has been 18 years. I'm sitting there in my little space, and I'm not quite sure what's going to happen next. I just hope Wade can figure this out. And next thing I know, I start hearing a lot of noise going on, a lot of rummage and stuff, like la 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 la, and I'm like, what is that? And I turn around and I see these people from the glass stand up, and at the head of the table, I know is a woman. She stands up, the rest of them stand up, and you can just hear I don't know, like this discourse, like they're not happy what's going on. Okay. I see this woman stand up, I see her turn around, and I see her walk out. I get this inkling to stand up and to go find out. I look over at Wade and I'm like, you guys can argue, I'm gonna check this out. So when I leave the area where the secretary is, it just goes into a hall, and I'm looking down the hall. What I don't know is that the woman, her door to that meeting house goes straight into the hall. So she's about to turn down the hall herself. This is Norma Espinosa, but I don't know that yet. So I'm standing there. When I take a couple more steps, I see this woman coming towards me. She had like lighter hair than normal, like Costa Ricans that I had seen, lighter skin, and she was very businesslike, but still soft. And as I see this lady walking towards me, my mind goes, who is this? My heart goes, I know who that is. That's my mama. Whew. But when I see her, my mind can only understand that there's this lady, but my heart remembers she's the mama that took care of me at the orphanage. You know her. My whole body, from the tip of my head to all the way down to my toes, warms, like warm sun rays like just warms, like completes, cleanses, washes, just whew. And I'm like, oh my goodness. And that's when the tears just fall. Norma had looked at me. She stopped and she called out my name, my sister's name, and my brother's name. Ana Katia Mena Hidalgo, you look just the same. And she grabbed me, and I grabbed her, and we hugged. It was so beautiful. And I knew that she had chosen to be the one to just love me. And love me enough to get me to the next stage of my life. So yes, we met Norma, and that was so beautiful, and it was way better than worrying about the angry secretary. So we sat down with Norma, and we cried so many questions. And she bends over and asks me, like, how are you? How's America? That's good. It's really good. How's your family and your siblings? And they're good. She's like, good. And then she's like, why are you here? And I said, I want to find my birth mother. Do you know anything? And she's like, oh, I don't. I know we had gotten some word on her while we were in the orphanage with you, but it's almost like she just had her other life, and she had to just, my understanding was she just needed to do what she needed to do to move on with her life. She's like, please don't be angry with her. Just know that she loved you. She decided, because she couldn't do much, she said, I have a card. And because where she was in her life now with her career and who she knew, she now could hand me a card of information that would allow me to get in touch with not just any lawyer, but the top lawyer in the social work department with the state, because this person specifically could have access to the record department. So we go on over to the state building or the government offices, and we walk in and we present this card to the secretary. And we're like, oh, so we are looking for this lady, and we were referred by Norma Espinosa, and we'd really like to meet with this lady. And then the secretary looks at us and says, oh, do you have an appointment? And of course, our faces are like, no, we know how this goes. And she says, okay, then you need to wait 6 weeks. And so we said, well, we don't have that time. Can we see her now?
Right. We can.
We love pushing the envelope here. Yeah, we're really good at this.
Yeah.
And so I, again, know what to do. I need to pray. So Wade tries to talk to her, and she's like, not happy. Again, not happy. And she's like, fine, look, what I do know is she's on her lunch break. So if she even gives you a chance, then go for it. She's like, okay, go down the hall, turn to the left, and her office is right there in the corner. Wade knocks, and she comes up to the door, and she lets us in and sits back at her desk. And we're like, hello. And she's just looking at us like, yes, like, and you are? And Wade says, I am Wade, and this is so-and-so, and explains. And the lady is not happy at all. But this lady's really not happy. She quickly turns to let us know very clearly, I am on my lunch break and you're interrupting me. But so she said, she pretty much excused us out from her office, and I was super frustrated. But something special happened, and a quiet voice came to me. This happened often, but this was more specific and clear to me. But I felt like I was inspired, and I had heard these words come to me. Don't worry, she will help you. And so she walked out, and she let us out. So we went one way, we're going home. And she went the other, and I saw her walk away. So as we're making our way back, I'm just like, really? That doesn't seem like that. We're walking this way. And I'm just super bummed. I'm praying so hard. As we're walking away, we hear, hey, you guys, come back. And she comes closer to us and walks kind of briskly back. And she stops as she looks at me and she goes, I need to help you. I need to get the records to you now. And she goes, we're gonna go upstairs and we're gonna go talk to Gerardo in the office and he's gonna get you a copy. You are not leaving here without your record.